All right. Well, today we have Wade here to have a conversation about supporting people while attending medical visits. So thanks, Wade, for agreeing to do this.
You're welcome.
Good. So we just want to spend some time chatting, and hopefully this resource will be helpful and valuable to you as you support people attending medical visits. So maybe, Wade, you could start off by describing some of the reasons that a person might attend a medical visit.
First of all, there are four compulsory reasons why a person has to attend a medical visit. It's required by licensing.
Okay.
One is the annual physical. Two will be at least a yearly visit to the dentist. Third, if the person has to see a psychiatrist, they have to have a yearly visit with a psychiatrist.
Okay.
And fourth, it'd be for vision. That could either be biannually or annually if the person has a medical condition.
Okay. Can you think of any other reasons that a person might have a medical appointment?
Yes, if there is an injury, they need to go see they have to see a medical professional. If there is a illness, they should see a medical professional. If there is an injection or that has to be done by someone else, a flu shot, it is considered a medical appointment. Any paramedical services, for instance, seeing a chiropractor or seeing a podiatrist, massage therapist, that's considered a medical appointment.
Okay.
A specialist, emergencies, that's all considered medical appointments.
Okay. And so how are the appointments typically made?
Usually what happens is the location supervisor is the one that will make the appointment. He or she will generate an electronic computer form for the person to be able to take with them, and then it could be assigned to a direct support professional.
Okay, so there's a form that Dash provides that they take with them.
Yes.
Okay. Who keeps track of medical appointments, dates, and where's the information stored?
It is kept. The location supervisor is the one that tracks the medical appointments. The location supervisor will be the person that usually will book the medical appointments. It'll be stored on the upload onto the computer, and it's also stored in the green files at the home.
Okay.
And after the medical appointment has taken place and it's been signed by the medical professional, and any information has been placed on that document, it is the location supervisor that actually takes care of all that after the fact.
All right. So the direct support professional is not typically setting the appointments. That's the location supervisor.
Mainly, yes. There are some times that the support staff will have to take the person in to see a doctor when the location supervisor is not there and something comes up. Then they're expected to do that.
Okay. So when it comes to medical appointments, what are the main differences between what the location supervisor will do and what the direct support professional will do?
Basically, LS, the location supervisor, will generate the medical form. The LS is the one that will store the medical information afterwards. So basically, they're provided with the document to take with them.
Okay.
The location supervisor is the one that takes care of all of the administrative part of the form.
Okay. And what documents would a direct support professional typically take with them to the appointment?
They will take with them the mental health card.
Okay.
They also will take with them the order form that's been computer electronically generated for them.
Okay.
Or else, if they're not able to, because of an emergency situation, they can grab a form from the emergency binder, take the emergency binder with them too in that case,
Okay.
and also a list of their current medications.
Okay, so they might take the whole binder with them.
Yes.
Okay. What suggestions would you offer to a DSP when it comes to helping support people while sitting in a waiting room? Do you recommend that the DSP bring something to do?
When they're sitting in the waiting room, we have to understand that we are there to give support to the person that we are with.
Okay.
So if the direct support professional is with the person, they need to be focusing on the individual. It could be that person may need to have reassurance because they could be scared. It all depends upon the individual.
Okay.
One individual could be just fine, just waiting. Another person could be really, really nervous or anxious, and we are there for the person.
Okay.
And so So, for instance, some may require to have a PRN given before they go to a medical appointment.
Okay.
We have to know who the individual is,
Yeah.
and provide support to the person while we are in the waiting room waiting for the appointment.
Okay, so it's a real person-centered approach then, and just knowing what that individual will need. I would imagine this would be real tempting for DSPs to just be on their phones and just be waiting, thinking it's kind of dead time.
Exactly. Sometimes it can be, yes, that can happen, where we are supposed to be giving our attention to the person,
Okay.
and we should by all means try to be off our phones if necessary.
Okay.
Not taking phone calls.
Yeah.
That we're there for the person, not for ourselves.
Yeah, so you want to keep that person-centered approach even while you're waiting. You're still in a support role.
Exactly.
Yeah, very important. Tell us a little bit about the relationship between DASH and Leela Pharmacy. What kind of support can a DSP expect if they were to call Leela?
Leela Pharmacy has access to all their medications of the people we support.
Okay.
So if there happens to be an error or an omission, we always call up Leela Pharmacy and speak to a pharmacist, because they'll always direct you to speak to a pharmacist regarding the person that we're supporting, and they will give us direction from there. If you have questions even about their medication, be able to call up Leela Pharmacy, and they will direct you to a pharmacist to be able to speak to them. Again, you can do that even after hours.
Okay.
There is a 24-hour line you'll be able to call if there's a question. For instance, get new medication that happens to just arrive one day, and there's nothing that's in the communication binder about it.
Okay.
Always call up Leela Pharmacy to be able to find out what is taking place, because it could be that the location supervisor may have went to a medical appointment, and the pharmacy may have said, well, we're not going to get that medication until Monday.
Yeah.
Friday comes, and all of a sudden it shows up when the location supervisor is off for the weekend.
Oh, okay.
Call up the pharmacy,
Okay.
find out what's going on,
Yeah.
and so that they will know how to be able to direct that person. Just never leave stuff like that.
Okay. And you said you could actually speak to the pharmacist when,
Yes.
when you talk. Okay.
Yes, there's a great relationship between the group homes and Leela Pharmacy.
Okay. What kinds of things might a DSP do to ensure that people are advocating for themselves during their medical visits?
First of all, when you have to know the individual. That's
Sure.
really important. It also, when a person goes to a medical appointment, if they're able to communicate verbally, let them explain to the medical professional what is going on, because they know what's going on with their body.
Yeah.
It is their body, and let them speak for themselves. That is also very important. To give them a chance to communicate. But also, with that being said, you have to know the person.
Yeah.
Because what happens is they may say, I'm fine, when in reality they could have a sore knee, they could have a lump somewhere, they could have a rash of this on their body, and that is when we need to speak up, because we are ones that are supposed to be aware of what's going on with them.
Okay.
So we are the ones that need to speak up and say, no, this is what's happening, and we need to let the professional know what's taking place, so that they be able to give them the proper direct care that they support, and that they deserve.
So as much as possible, we'd like the person we support to communicate their needs and talk about their body and whatever illness they might be there to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're kind of filling in the pieces that they might be missing. Is that what I hear you say?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Can you provide any advice related to helping a supported person process bad news?
First of all, be compassionate.
Okay.
Be kind. Be understanding. Be there there for the person that we are breaking that news to. Another thing too, it also depends upon the situation. If sometimes they locate the professional, the support staff, they may not be able to relate the really bad news to them, and that's where the other supports fall into place.
Okay.
For instance, if it's really bad news, it could be a life-threatening bad news.
Yeah.
It could, depending on what the news is. That kind of thing, you want to involve the location supervisor. You want to involve your program manager.
Okay.
If it's on a weekend, you might want to also call the emergency cell phone, depending on the situation,
Yeah.
and how bad it is. If they end up in the hospital, emergency cell phone call. A cell phone has to be called at all times,
Okay.
and the location supervisor to let them know this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And and also provide specialized services if it's really bad news that might require that we're not able to tell them in an appropriate way that they may not understand. They may be able to put together a story for them to be able to explain this
Okay.
this bad news.
Yeah.
Also depends on the person too. What is bad news for the person? If a person, it could be that they are going to lose a tooth. To them, to some people, that is really upsetting.
Okay.
And we need to be kind in that area where be compassionate in that area if they have had a tooth extracted.
Yeah.
That could be bad news. They could feel very self-conscious about that, and we need to be compassionate and saying, yes, that's going to be happening, and help them through that whole process.
Now, as you're talking, I wonder, have you ever been in a situation where a medical professional wanted to give you the bad news so you could pass it on to the individual, or do they usually just, tell the individual right there in the room?
Sometimes it depends on the professional. Sometimes
Okay.
they will tell us. Sometimes they will tell the person right there then and
Okay.
there. It depends. It depends because usually they're the person that has to be the one that gets the news. So they
Yeah.
will, most of the time they'll probably tell the person there.
Yeah.
If the person not able to communicate for themselves, then they'll tell us
Yeah.
what's going on.
So then
Yes.
you're just trying to work that information through and help them understand later on then.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you help a supported person follow through on doctors' recommendations? I would imagine that could be tricky sometimes.
First of all, with the person that we support, we have to have them understand these are the doctor's recommendations and explain to them this is what you need to do. But also, what is very important too is to have the backup team, the staff.
Okay.
They're the ones that needs to be able to encourage that individual to put the doctor's recommendations into play.
Okay.
And that means communicating with all the staff. That means that the person that the recommendations of the if the support staff is the one that took the person to the appointment, it's important that they communicate that to the person, to communicate to the location supervisor, communicate that orally communicate with the staff, the current team that's there. Write it in the communication binder, and when there's a shift change and they're there, they should be also orally communicating those recommendations to the oncoming staff.
Okay.
Just not assuming what's in the communication binder, I don't need to talk about it.
Okay, so that's a really important piece of this, the verbal, looking a person in the eye and communicating this verbally, not just writing it down.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
critical, I would imagine.
And then the staff will have the pertinent information that's for the recommendations, and they'll also be able to help reinforce that to the person they're supporting,
Yeah.
so that the recommendations are being followed for the person's well-being.
Yeah, that consistency is really important, right?
Very important. Yes.
Yeah. How will the medical professional typically provide notes of the meeting? Or do they give you a piece of paper? Are they going to write some things down? Or are the DSPs expected to take notes?
Usually, with the medical professional, usually take their own notes. The problem is that they will not necessarily give you those notes. So what we have to do is we have an order form. What we call it's a computer generated form that we take with us to the appointment.
Okay.
And we give that to the medical professional, and we have them not just sign it. They need to put down what their recommendations are.
Okay.
What their findings are has to be put on that form. Sometimes you may get resistance, and when you do get resistance, that's when you say to the person, this is a government document. This is for our documentation.
Yeah.
That's required by the government on our behalf, that this is recorded for us.
Okay.
Or just say this a documentation required by DASH, so that we have record of what's taken place at this appointment.
Yeah.
And then they comply.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really comply. They'll write down. They'll fill out what needs to be done.
Yeah. What do you do with that document then? You take that back to the house? Is it put in the medical binder? Or
What happens is that is brought back to the house. Whatever recommendations are implemented, the LS, the location supervisor, then will file that information. So it gets uploaded to the computer. It gets sent off to that's the administrative side of the location supervisor. It gets sent off to the program manager, and also gets filed into the green file.
Okay.
That piece of paper, we have record on hand of what's taken place.
Okay. So what are the steps that the direct support professional will follow to relay this information to the staff team or to the families after the meeting has taken place?
As mentioned before, communicate with the staff.
Okay.
Most parents, they, especially if it's a substitute decision maker,
Okay.
they need to be notified of what is happening, of what's taking place.
Okay.
That all depends on the situation. Usually, it could be a phone call. Or maybe the location supervisor may relay the information onto the family. It all depends on the situation, really. How to be able to take care of that.
Okay, like a phone call, you're just trying to be, again, verbal, just making sure people,
Yes.
I know that might be like a change of medications or...
If a change in medications take place, then you communicate that with the family, especially, yeah, if it could be an increase in dose, and maybe they may cut back the dose, and actually may have a new medication.
Yeah,
It's good that the family knows about it, and also the staff needs to be communicated with the staff.
Yeah.
The very same process that we talked about before.
Yeah.
Let the location supervisor know.
Yeah.
Let the if necessary, you may have to let the program manager know. Let your current staff that is there know what is going verbally. Write it in the communication binder. What was to take place. Write in the and also verbally if the shift change is there and the person that went to the appointment is there also for the shift change. Verbally tell the person from the shift change, and then just don't assume that they're going to read it.
yeah,
You never know, and it's like I said, it's vital that the information is all passed on to everyone.
yeah. So you got to have a good communication system in your team, don't you, to be able to pass this
Exactly.
all on. Yeah.
Exactly, it has to be, yes.
Well, this has been really helpful, Wade. Thanks for sharing your knowledge of the medical appointments, and I hope this will be really helpful to future location supervisors and direct support professionals. Thank you for taking the time to do this with us.
You're welcome. It's been a
right.
pleasure.
All the best.
Yeah, thanks.